I've got to go. Hello and welcome to Bucs Report Aftermath. The Buccaneers took one on the chin, or did they take it elsewhere? Because what we saw on display was not what we expected. We came into this game expecting lights out offense. And what did we get? We got a pop gun offense. And realistically, we have a bazooka for an offense. And we were literally a pop gun offense today. Defense ended up giving up more than they should. Gave up, and the Buccaneers mustered themselves 18 points total against a team that is decimated in its secondary. And what did the Buccaneers do? Game plan was to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And what was not wrong with this Steelers team? Oh, yeah, its defensive front was pretty much the same bar one player. There we go. And that player is more of a C-gapper. So I could understand if they were running the strong C or the weak C, but they weren't. They were running, boshing it up the middle, run left, run right. They were playing genuinely mostly between the tackles. And that just did not go to the game plan. I don't know why we're trying to establish a fucking run against a team that has a decimated secondary. I understand and respect that if you want to get that play action game going, and yes, it's easier to pass the ball when you have a dominant run game. But the Buccaneers didn't have a dominant run game last year, and we threw that ball over the place. I get it. Stop trying to be balanced. Do what you're good at, Bucs. That's throw the fucking ball to the right players and not at people's shins. Are you trying to injure Chris Godwin against that? Fuck it, I'll hit his knee instead. You've got to make the easier catches for these guys. What happened to the screen game that we used to have? I didn't see hardly any screens. This was something that was Chris Godwin's bread and butter. And it's ended up being this pop gun pass out the backfield. This is why Leonard Fournette is leading the Bucs in receptions. And he shouldn't. He's not a receiver. He's a back that can receive, yes. But our entire game plan should not be based upon our running backs catching the ball out the backfield. It seems just not good enough. And I think I personally would love to see. I've got a red pen in my pocket, I think. Yeah, see if I got it. Here we go. Nice little red pen. This one. Signed in blood. He's got the Bruce Arians. I have this pen for you. Just go downstairs. I know you got an office, a nice little top floor office. Come downstairs with this red pen and scribble over some fucking game plans because it's fucking needed right now. That was a shocking shower of shit. And I'm going to bring in the dude right now who probably is also feeling the same way. Aren't you, dude?
I'm over here trying to recover from shocking shower of shit. Trying to say that with a lisp, it fucking sucks. Straight up, that was not what we're accustomed to as far as the last couple of years with Buccaneers football. That was totally what we were accustomed to previous to Tom Brady.
Yes.
But that's another time, another show. Watching the film, I shouldn't say watching the film because I'm not going to sit here and lie like I break down film. Fuck that. Watching the film clips posted by the people who put the time in on Twitter to break down film, it's not that they just ran constantly. It's that they were predictable. Like you could see the Steelers on 80% of the plays knew where the ball was going, knew where to roll coverage to, knew which gap they were going to run through. To me, it was like, I don't know, as predictable as the sunset. That said, as I just stated, I'm no expert. And to help with that and to bring a little passion here, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't checked this video out, go to It's About Buckin' Time with AJ Turnup on YouTube. You can find that link at bucksreport.com under the It's About Buckin' Time with AJ Turnup. This video he did yesterday, epic rant. You don't have to agree with it, but you do have to agree with the passion, and he does bring some good points. So without further ado, I'm going to take my non-video self out of here. We're going to bring in AJ. He's going to lay the heat down for a little bit, Slick. He, judging by his video, we've wound him up. Let's let him go, and then you guys can unpack what he's got to say when he's done. Also coming up, JT Olson, lead writer, Bucs Report, and and host of the Creamsicle Chronicle podcast. He'll be up soon. But without further ado, from It's About Bucking Time with AJ Turnip, let's bring him in. The man, the myth, the legend, the guy who upset some people on Facebook with this video. AJ, welcome to the broadcast, brother.
What's up, guys? First of all,
He just come out of the gym.
Yeah,
he's ready to go
all the time. Look, I went to the gym twice because I had to burn off that frustration. And again, I appreciate you guys allowing me to have the platform here. But yeah, we're gonna get right into it. It was a total shit show, and to be surprising, I actually was telling people I'm from Florida originally, Tampa, Florida, East Tampa, College Hill, 813 Hborough County. But I reside in Northern Virginia, the DC area. So we have a Bucs bar we go to. Shout out to Arlington Rooftop. And I told them, I said, you know what? I have a bad feeling. I don't understand, but something's not right. And I knew it as soon as we got the ball kicked off and the way the offense came out and just sputtered. That's when I knew something wasn't going to go right. So basically, Leftwich, he's the problem. He's the main source of the problem. He has, as we just said, he's too predictable. He lacks imagination. And the most important thing, because I coached before, as a coach, if you do not believe in your players and you play more, you have more respect for the opposing team, you don't deserve to be a coach. You don't deserve to play the game because you're showing too much cowardness. You're supposed to say to hell with whoever's on that end. I don't care if TJ Watt was playing. That's the biggest thing that Leftwich cannot do is adjust. He never adjusts, and it's awful, and he does not utilize the strength of his players. As we said, the passing game would have set up the run game. You have a depleted secondary. You have an elite receiver in Mike Evans. Godwin is coming back. You have Russell Gage. And we forget about Scotty. I know Scotty has been taking a lot of heat lately, but I'm going to tell you, it's not his fault. They're not utilizing the plays. First of all, where the hell are the crossing routes? You have speed receivers in Scotty and Perriman. It's not that many linebackers that can keep up with them. Or mix it up. You can have Scotty on the outside, Mike Evans in the slot. You can use you can use Scotty Miller with his speed, a safety in a corner. They're going to have to get him if he does a go route. And Evans will eat. So that is my biggest problem. He does not adjust. And he's been this way. People will try to say, well, statistically, he's good. Bullshit. He is riding off the coattails of this offense. People forget Jameis Winston, as much as a turnover machine he was, they still had a lethal offense. And this offense has no rhythm. So Leftwich is incompetent. He doesn't know what he's doing. And you can see it. As you said, why are you running in the beginning? You're not fooling anyone. You were not fooling anyone. And Mike Evans only gets 5 targets. Give me a break. Now, he needs to go completely. Now, Bowles, I actually think Bowles is doing a fantastic job with the defense. His biggest thing, and I told people, either he is stubborn or stuck on stupid. Stop playing soft cushion coverage. That is not what our DBs are designed for. As you can see, Carlton Davis is a better man coverage and jam the receivers. You have a rookie quarterback out there. You want chaos on the line of scrimmage to where if the receivers can't get separation, we have the front 7 to get there. If you jam, it's hard to do that. And they always want to act like they're going to get beat. You don't play that way. Play man until they beat you out of it. So that is my biggest issue. Bowles, that can be fixed, but a lot of times I think it's ego. And a lot of people want to blame Brady. He hasn't been perfect, but he damn sure hasn't been awful either. Coaching, it's a domino effect. If the coaches have a shitty play, so are the players. You can't expect them. And I'm sorry, I have to put this out there, but people say, well, Brady can make the calls and change it if he wants to. This is why I feel like a lot of people are fired. You really think you're just going to go tell your boss all the time, this is stupid, I'm not going to do this shit? No, there are rules. And you know Brady is a type of individual who's loyal to a fault. But I think, his personal life is affecting him, but not to the extent that people want to bring it out. So with all that being said, coaching has been the problem. This team should be at an elite level. It shouldn't take that damn long for the offense to click. So I leave it there. Leftwich got to go. Bowles need to step up and have some balls and play man. What do you say, Slick?
You know what? This is the first time we're actually seeing a Byron Leftwich offense. Because let's face it, before it was a Bruce Arians offense with him kind of adding his bit to it, so to speak. And we remember, if we go back into the 2020 season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had this really no risk it, no biscuit offense. And then throughout the year, we realized it wasn't really working. And Tom Brady added his thing that he did that kind of out the backfield, set more play action, a lot more motion, which is something that they did in New England just to get him comfortable. I've watched a lot of stuff with Coach Leftwich where he's talked about how he approaches the game. And he basically said that he likes to tailor his play calling based on the quarterback. Well, okay, I do kind of get a New England vibe about it, but even if that is your goal, like as in, I'm going to kind of make the offense, you've also got to utilize everyone else. Mike Evans is not a pop gun dude who's going to catch you a 5-yard this or a 5-yard that. He's a climb the pocket guy. He's a climb the ladder kind of guy. You throw that ball on a rope and you put it on the top shelf, and he's going to come down with it. And my thing on Brady is, and this is just my own personal opinion, I don't think he trusts Mike Evans like he trusts Chris Godwin. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling. I have no logic to it. I just think he looks at Mike Evans' catching skill set and the ability that those kind of throws are more high risk. But what he doesn't realize is Mike Evans has made an entire living off those plays. That's what he does. That's why I consider him one of the elite, because no one can do what Mike Evans. There's not one wide receiver. Yeah, they all run these sexy fucking route trees that he can't. He generally can't, and he's not run after the catch. But I tell you what, you get him to run a corner, or you get him to run a fade. He's got deceptive speed, and he will go up there. You put that ball about 6'8". He's going to bring that ball down with his hands, and no DB is going to touch him.
I agree.
And that's it. But going back to Byron Leftwich.
Yeah.
I want to see how I'm not one to call for I don't believe in firing someone mid-season because it's just not my vibe. But that might have to come into effect at some point. I want to see how he comes back, because this is it. You had a golden opportunity to put your name out there, as in, when a team's down, I'm going to kick them even harder. I'm going to fucking make sure their ribs are broken while they lay on that floor. And then we're going to stomp on them, because we didn't do that. We should have punished that team. That should have been. This Buccaneers team used to average over 30 points. We're barely over 20. And that is just not fucking good enough. And
you are right. Unacceptable.
It just, nothing's changed, okay, except the issues that you have on the offensive line. I understand that. I know that Luke Geteke is getting adjusted. He's basically being thrown right at the deep end against some really good talent. And I would say overall, he's doing okay. He's not doing great, but he's doing okay. It's not like Tom Brady's being sacked every fucking play. He's not. He's being smart. He's done what he's needed to do. And to have two guys out from your offensive line from last year to do what we're doing, we're still moving the ball up the field. We just can't turn them into points. We are having those stall outs. We are stalling it occasionally, but we have got points. And I look at our red zone offense. We're 31st in red zone offense. 31st with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, who was a good player when he was with Atlanta. We got Cameron Brate, who can, obviously not right now, we haven't, but we had a Cameron Brate who could snag 6 touchdowns when he was with Jameis Winston. So we know this offense is capable of doing it. And we finally get ourselves, I wouldn't say a bow cow running back, but a running back who can do a bit of all of it, and a running back who likes the contact. And now all of a sudden...
what I'm scared of is the fact that we're using Fournette. We want to keep playoff Lenny in great shape. And for all these people out here, I just want to ask, where the hell is Keyshawn Vaughn? Rashad White is still green. So this is like you said, I don't understand Byron. This is why I can't stand him. What pisses me off about coaching, you must adjust, because that's what Tomlin did. He adjusted. And this team, like you said, you should have stomped them. When you're in the red zone, and I know this is an unpopular opinion, sometimes run the damn bootleg. Brady can make some moves when it happens. And as you said, we have Mike Evans. There's always should be a fade. And if you don't, and if they're doubling him, you put Chris Godwin out there because he's the nitty-gritty guy. And I do agree. Also, and you got a guy in Otten where if you use him to the best of his abilities, he can make things. He can be a sleeper. But I want to see what we have in Rachaad White. I want to see if he can run between the tackles because that's what I loved about Keyshawn Vaughn. He was very durable, and we should have learned already not to overuse your primary backs. I'm talking Cadillac Williams syndrome. We went through this already. We've been through this before. You want to keep playoff Lenny fresh. And I just think offensively, the reason why I want to make this change now, because it's very simple. I honestly feel, in my personal opinion, I want Brady to go to the Glazers and say, look, Leftwich got one more game. And if not, we need to bring somebody that works with me because I guarantee you, every time I tell people we could run a spread, the first thing they want to say is the line is not going to hold enough time. I call bullshit on that because if you look at statistically, the passing has been solid. It's the run. Also, we never heard of chip blocking. We know Fournette can block. He did it to Parsons. He can do that. And
One can do it too.
Yeah, and if you have guys like, as I said, Scotty and Perriman, a simple crossing route, you will destroy them. And let's not forget, you can use Godwin. These guys, they have enough offensive pieces. They're just he lacks imagination. And that's why defenses don't take us serious. Like you said, they know what we're going to do. And we can't waste this. We play Carolina next week. They're a dumpster fire. You should beat that team at least 25 plus points. But Leftwich I think he's in over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing. And I think from a PC political thing, they're just trying to keep him around, because Arians wants to keep, Arians has hyped him up. But I think
he has.
And
he's going to be a future. He's going to be a future head coach, and he's got the stamp.
Yeah, he's not. He's not going anywhere. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And
not in the context of this. I mean, if he can turn it around, maybe. But he's got to turn it around now because the one thing that's always been on his shoulders as a coach is, his offense is very good because he has Tom Brady and he has a plethora of offensive weaponry around him, right? And he's had the guidance of the quarterback whisperer, quote unquote, of BA on his shoulder at all times. Okay, great. That's fantastic. Now he's alone. He can talk to Brady, and Brady can tell him what he likes and what he doesn't like. There's no way. Like, we were all excited as Bucs fans. They were like, "Oh wow!" There was this talk about the whole red pen, and it used to piss off Brady. It used to piss off Brady, and there's all that crap came out, and we were all thinking, "Wow!" So if these two can now collaborate with each other, we're now going to get a unadulterated version of what we had last year. Well, it seems like we've gone steps beyond, and we're just completely watered down and not utilizing what we have. Now, I understand that I'll give the Green Bay game because we were so depleted. I can give that up. I can accept that one. I liked what I saw in the Kansas City game, but the other two games we've been lackluster, and we've been relying on our defense to really kind of hit home. And you can't, in today's NFL, you can't do that no more. You can't just go, we got a great defense. It's just going to sit there. You're not going to score any points, and we might keep knocking field goals over. I mean, Ryan Succop was probably the best player on the field last week.
Yeah, you have to be fair to your defense. Exactly. Because isn't this the reason why we got rid of Jameis? So, and I think, like you said, we have to understand Brady's human. Every quarterback, no quarterback is going to have a complete perfect game. Was he throwing low balls? Absolutely. But people like to disregard that sweet ass pass he threw up the middle to Godwin. And I'm switch to the defensive side. Bowles pissed me off with that dumbass statement about people are living in the defense in the Super Bowl era. Bullshit. That's you, Bowles. You coached a hell of a game that on the Super Bowl. We appreciate that. That was 2021. It's done. It's
Mhm.
your stubbornness. I honestly would love to have a discussion with Bowles and ask, why do you like to play soft cushion? It's like it doesn't do anything. As I stated earlier, what you like when you jam receivers, people don't realize it's a chess game. It's not about always shutting down your receiver. It's about disrupting the
Timing.
timing between the
Mhm.
quarterback, and a rookie quarterback is going to. He's not going to be able to handle that. So his instinct is either take off or take the sack. And
Mhm.
we have the front seven. As I said, if we clean up, if we just play man until they beat us out of it, the Bucs defense would be the best by far. We have the best linebackers. We got Vita Vea, who's going to be the premier tackle. I feel like after Aaron's gone, so we have the defense. It's just bold. Like the coaches play scared. It's more we want to show respect to the other team. No, you're supposed to say to hell with that team. We
Mm.
got the better players. I believe in you, team. I believe in you. And I don't see that intensity. I see Bowles being hesitant. I see him when you try not to mess up, you're going to mess up. Make
Mhm.
mistakes.
Yeah,
Take
I
risks.
think so.
Take risks. They got to tighten up. They have to tighten up. And the NFC is wide open.
Mhm.
That's
It's
the
still
only
wide
thing.
open considering we're playing as bad as we are.
Yeah, that's the only good news. And I honestly think we're still a better team than everybody in the NFC East. We are the better team. And this is where I feel like I honestly think Brady is going to step in and be like, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. This is what we're going to do. Like he did in 2020 after that Kansas City game when we got beat. We
Yeah, yeah.
adjusted. So I think we're on the horizon. I hope. I don't want Leftwich fired, but I don't have a lot of faith in him, and it's his fault. That's on him. And Bowles, I just need Bowles to really be. I miss Bruce Arians' directness. He called you out on your shit. See,
Mhm.
Bowles is and I think people go, oh, everybody's different. No, for the most part, you need to put these players in their damn places and put their egos out of it. Like, no, you're not there yet. You need to
Mhm.
get to this level. Let's play. We can't worry about anything else. And I feel like I don't think the locker room is divided nothing, but there's not that person in there to say, guys, we got to get our shit together.
It
Brady
doesn't
is
feel like
trying.
it. It feels
Yeah.
like we're coasting.
Yes.
Is the best way I could describe it. And I think that's where Bowles was going on with the Super Bowl comment that there are players within and he obviously never named those players. I have a feel like I know who they are, but at the end of the day, that these guys now need to put up. And he set a challenge by saying what at least by saying what he said in his press conference. Now I want to see how much he pushes it, because if I was him, I'm going to make the next few days in practice dog shit. And oh, by the way, the Dolphins got rid of a fucking ping pong table. Your guys' fucking veteran days are revoked until we start fucking winning. Because that was something that was attractive about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that we had these veteran days off where players could just, yeah, I'm having a week, I'm having 2 practices off. I'm going to spend some time with the family. Great, fantastic. We're family first. That's our vibe. Yeah, great. When we're fucking winning, because we don't want this to turn into a fucking what do you call it? A resting home for players who just think they can just turn up, play like a fucking country club for football players. We don't want that. Now
Want the
it's
Dirk
all
Cutter Etter. Yeah, we don't want Dirk
work
Cutter
hard, play
Etter.
hard. Yeah, have that attitude. You come here, you work hard, we get the win, we're in. Veteran days exist, but as soon as you take your foot off the gas, those days are gone. Fuck the fucking ping pong table. You're just not having days off. It's that simple. And I'm sure most players would take it because they
No.
know what it means. And it's like people are like, the problem with football fans in general is we all do this. We all try to pick at something that we can try and find what's wrong. Oh, Tom Brady went to a wedding, so that's got to be the problem. Look, it may, and this is my belief. There's more than one thing at play. It's not just this. It's not just maybe the Tom Brady thing did have an effect to a small degree. Maybe you add the play calling blunders on top of that. You have some of the defensive players with the Super Bowl. Some of the players with and I said defensive because I think it's more defensive players than it is offensive players. Personally, having a bit of a Super Bowl hangover, which was 2 years ago, which makes no sense. But you can be complacent. You can think, oh, I don't have to try hard when I go against a 1-4 team. Well, guess what? In today's NFL, they will fucking ruin you if you are half-hearted.
Wait a minute. You've never had a hangover last 2 years, bro?
I have a hangover most Sundays, brother.
I'm still hungover. I'm still hungover from the '99 Woodstock, man. Hey, first of all, great stuff, guys. AJ, you're welcome to stay as long as you want, but we are going to bring on, ladies and gentlemen, JT Olson, Bucks Report lead writer, co-host of the Creamsicle Chronicles, the man who finished just outside the podium on Creative Loping's Best of the Bay sports columnist. We're going to bring him on here. He's got a big Buccaneers flag graphic in the background. It's JT Olson. You might know him from Twitter. You might not. If you do, come on and say hi to JT Olson. And before we let all three of you, because I'm just like a picture, go off, I want to point out, and I want to get all three of your thoughts on this while I go wrangle up some more people here. I'm going to put the question on the screen. And I need somebody either to justify this to me or call complete bullshit on it. Mike Evans only had 4 targets yesterday. 4 against a depleted secondary. I think that goes and alludes to what AJ was trying to say. Coaching, scheming, horrible. But I'm just a fat dude that watches football. I got above me 2 coaches, and I've got a lead writer over here. Let me see. That would be my screen left, but my actual right. JT, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's start with JT and work our way clockwise around and get your all's takes on that.
Cool.
Yeah, I have no explanation for it. There are 4 starting defensive backs out in this game, one of which is an all-pro, and you don't throw to Mike Evans. I mean, even with those starting corners in, there's no matchup problem there. Even if Fitzpatrick in, you like Mike Evans in that game. Without them, it should be no question. Feed him the ball. I don't care if you force feed him the ball, because you got to get the ball downfield, because we were just thinking and dunking in this game, and that can be good, but you got to take your shots occasionally. It can't just be 3 yards, 4 yards, because that leaves you 0 room for error. That's why we see 2nd and 9, 3rd and 9, and it's a death sentence for this offense because we're not getting chunk plays. So why they did it, I have no idea. I didn't see anything watching the game film that said Pittsburgh was taking Mike Evans away. I haven't watched the all 22 yet, but it looked like if they wanted it, it was there.
I just want to talk about what they had out, because I decided to do a little bit of research. I had a little look and see what they had out. So starting corners, Levi Wallace and Witherspoon were out. So that means their next man up was their 3rd choice corner. They also had some other injuries, but that of corners previously. They bring in Josh Jackson off the practice squad. Now, Josh Jackson, I believe, was with the Atlanta. I think he was drafted by somebody out. I can't remember. He was drafted a couple of years ago, and he never really panned out. Quincy Wilson just came off the street, off the practice squad. So you've now got 2 P squad guys as your backup. One's going to be a starter, one's a backup. You've got your 3rd choice corner. They're all cover 2 cover guys, which is probably going to help them a little bit more because they do like a cover 2. From the other side, Cameron Sutton, their starting nickelback was out. So that meant Arthur Mollett. I'm trying my best to pronounce that name. And then they had starting safety. Terrell Edmonds was the only one to start. Then Trey Horwood was the other one, who was a 7th round pick last year. 7th round picks have no business being that good. This was wide open for the Buccaneers to take advantage of. Wide open. I said earlier that I feel that Tom Brady doesn't trust Mike Evans as much because he feels he's more of a risk it play, and Tom Brady's very much a tactician of taking care of the football. What he doesn't realize is you sling those balls up to Mike Evans, they're either going to be incomplete or he'll bring it down, and that's what you need. That's what you needed to do. That's what he failed to do. I just don't know how you don't do that. Like, you just send Mike Evans up, send Mike Evans on a go route. Then in the next series, send him on a hitch. Get him to bite real fucking hard, or get him to go a comeback, because they're going to bite on the hit. They're going to bite on something else because you've just dangled that cheese that, oh, he's going deep on these plays. You do it a few times, even if he's just the decoy runner. they're still going to see it. The DB coach is still going to see it. The defensive coordinator is still going to see it and go, all right, they're running him up. They keep an eye on him. Those corners will eventually bite. And when they do, well, that's when you get them. Now, if you play a cover 2, one thing I like about a cover 2, because I'm a big cover 2 guy, is you get your, and I will have to watch the 22 film as well. You usually get a corner to play very, very handsy on the outside guys, because there's no need. You get what's called a jam and reroute. So all you're doing is either fixing them that way or you're fixing them that way. It doesn't matter. You can just play as heavy as you want because you are a flat defender. So I don't know if they did that a lot and it disrupted Mike Evans, but Mike Evans is really good with his get off. Like, he's solid. I mean, he's the thick dude, so it's not like he's just gonna just get stuck there. Mike Evans is not gonna break you with his sexy feet dancing around. He's just gonna plow ahead, flip an arm up, and run through you. And you better hope that you're on for the ride. Then you're waiting on this seventh round from last year, pick 245. To come and defend you. I'm putting Mike Evans on that every single day. There's no way a 7th round pick from last year, who probably didn't play very much last year, gets the grind of Mike Evans. And that's just my part of it. I couldn't see it. Where was Brashard Perriman? I didn't even hear his name called. This guy's supposed to be a speedster. That's me.
I said it earlier, but I would like to extend my services to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and give them some advice, especially to Byron Leftwich, because I'm just going to tell you, flat out, I don't think he understands coverages as much as we think he does. And again, he definitely does not understand talent. You just broke this down. You got people literally coming off the street happy for a paycheck to be in there. See, this is what I go by. You can have a scheme all you want. It's if the players can implement it. I don't give a damn if you know. We already know in the red zone, they usually go to Evans. You know why? Because you can't stop it. It doesn't matter if you know it. And I challenge a lot. And this is why everybody who's in the NFL, who's coaches, that doesn't mean they're good. We all know that one person on the job, that he only got the job through someone else. And I feel like that's how Leftwich is, through hype. I was looking at the game. Do you realize a lot of times they were giving the Bucs receivers space because they didn't want to get beat deep? I would have taken what they got. Evans is a big receiver. If you're going to play 5 to 10 yards off, I'm throwing that damn ball to Evans, because eventually those corners don't want to tackle a guy like that. You will get worn out, not just physically, but mentally. You will make an error because smaller corners don't want to take on Evans. So when you're getting all this space, let's go for a slant route. Oh, you know what? If you continue to pass and take deep shots, they don't want to load the box anymore. HB draw, Fournette up the gut. Or why not put double running backs in the shotgun? You got both of them can block. Rachaad White, I feel like, is a little more elusive. He got a little more speed. So this is what I'm saying. He lacks imagination. He doesn't know, and he folds under pressure. I can tell you now, he probably saw that Evans looked like he was going to get doubled a lot, and he said, okay, we can't do it. We're gonna go to something else. So Leftwich just can't adjust. And you already know in this league, if you can't adjust, you're a waste. And Perriman was out there, but the way they threw it to him, they're doing shit ass backwards. Leftwich is making our speed receivers, possession receivers, and they're making like our short route guys speed receivers. Why are you trying to throw to Miller to make contested catches? That man is the Bucs 70 soaking wet. Get him to run and
he's gonna die.
Stride. Yeah, give it to him and Perriman when they're in stride. We saw the Bills game last year. Perriman scored a touchdown in stride because he beat a linebacker. So that's what happened. That's to answer your question. He has no imagination, and the most important thing, he ain't got this. He lacks heart.
Well, you said he doesn't understand coverages and route combinations, that kind of thing. I don't think he understands offensive line either, because I just got done doing a film review on Luke Gadecki because I wanted to I wanted to see if he was as bad as people are talking about. I've seen he's a turnstile, he's a bust. So I went back and I reviewed his whole game today. If you were Byron Leftwich, how many times would you let Luke Gadecki line up one-on-one versus Cam Hayward, one of the best defensive tackles in the league, in a pass pro situation? How many times would you want that?
0.
And then you use a running back to chip to help him. You help.
Do you know how many times they left him on an island versus Hayward in this game?
More than 10 times. I know that.
18 times. Luke Gadecki versus Cam Hayward, one-on-one pass protection. No chip, no help from Hainsey, no help from Smith, just one-on-one.
That's why I'd have glued those two together. I'd be like, your job, Hainsey. That's going to be your whole thing. And then when you are holding him and you're pissing him off, that's when you'll start adding the chips in. You'll have him go somewhere else because it completely changes the nature of the offensive line of what they're doing, because they'll go, okay, they're doing this, and then all of a sudden you go, okay, I'm gonna get my back pocket play, as I used to call them. It's something you know that you can use later on, and you will just go, right, okay, Hainsey, you're no longer helping him no more. You're now gonna go and do something else. This is what your new job is gonna be. Do this instead, because they'll adjust something as well, and then you'll turn around. And one thing you say, can the Buccaneers run the spread? I got one for you, Turner. How about putting, instead of a running back, a Cade Otton in the running back position so he can come and get a piece of a block, or go and get a Cokeith who can run the football if he needs to. Put Cokeith in the backfield. They both can run passing routes. We've already seen that they can do a little, just to be a little bit different. I know it's a bit out there, but that's what offensive football is about, is to come up with something that's going to get them off their heels. And then once they can't go, we didn't think they were going to do that. That's when they have to really sit there and scratch their heads. When they're scratching their heads, that's when you change it up again to something else. That's offensive play call.
You know who would have a wet dream with this offense, and I hate him to death, but he would kill, and it hurts my soul. So let me get this out. Sean Payton would kill with this offense. He would. If we think Drew Brees was something, oh my God, can you imagine if Sean Payton had this offense? He'd go crazy. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Mike Evans would probably have damn near 1,800 yards and 30 touchdowns. I'm telling you. If people think Thomas is good, Evans is light years ahead of him. So again, Leftwich, you suck.
Hey, I got a question real quick for JT, if you don't mind here. JT, we kind of brought you in and bombarded you with the 4 targets for Evans. We heard what you had to say about, or what you found out about. Is it Godecki or Godecki or
Geteki
or Goodecki? I don't know. That guy. What else in this game? I know there has to be something else that disturbed you, because I got this submission of an article. I haven't looked at it, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the game. So why don't you give us a little preview about that and tell us what kind of, pissing you off about this team right now?
A lot of things right now. The article I submitted was my film review of Gedeke, so be looking for that on Bucs Report tomorrow. Went in on the good, the bad, and the ugly of what we saw. But largely, I thought he played mostly well. I mean, considering he was going up against Cam Hayward, one of the best in the league. Who didn't play well was Byron Leftwich. You guys have talked about it. This was just an absolute disaster of a game plan. And I'm not one to, go for the low-hanging fruit, the easy target. I don't mind, running the ball as much as some people. This was some of the worst playing calling I've seen in recent years. This took me back to the Dirk Cotter era. It was predictable. I mean, you look at that QB sneak they ran. We had 4 defensive linemen in the A-gaps. There were more linemen than blockers, and they ran right into it. There was no thought of a jet sweep or anything that could keep them guessing. It's just they know they're running it here, so we're going to run it here.
JT, that's absolutely spot on, because if you see those guys lining up like that, you're going to call something. You're going to call a little audible, because you've got to know that could happen. So maybe because of this, you run, I know, your slot guy on a quick out, straight after him, boom, gone. And like, oh, well, that's fucked up, because then they're expecting this. This is Tom Brady's bread and butter. This is what he does. But when you see those people stacking up like that, you've got to think on your feet. And I don't know why we didn't change that. And that's not the reason we lost. For me, the frustrating thing was seeing Devin White being lazy on the first touchdown. He did not take the back appealing, the running back peeling out. He just stared at the quarterback, and I'm like, why are you not drifting with him? Like that's your job. Like there was no one else, because when he caught the ball originally, I only saw that him catch the ball, and I was like, why is this guy wide open? There's got to be someone. Rewatch, obviously they show you the replay, and I'm like, you can see him go up, he comes out, and I'm like, okay, and I could see Devin White just fixed, frozen, watching, and I'm like, that's why. Okay, this guy just needs math.
Yeah, Devin, I was keeping him from being elite is his awareness, because we know physically he's the best physically linebacker in the game by far. Mm-hmm. It's with him, I think he overthinks it. Sometimes I really think he overthinks it, and he just got to realize you got to make sure if it's your duty, look at the size. You have the speed to get there. Don't worry about it. I think the biggest thing, do your job. Your assignment is I think he just gets confused. But again, if we load the box, I think that's another thing. We load the box, we can stop the run that way. Losing Sue and JPP was a major deficit to us in the run defense. That's why you load the box. Most of the quarterbacks we play besides Rodgers and Mahomes, I would not be worried about beating us deep. Let them take a shot. So what? It's not going to happen. So defensively, we just got to just play more man and physical coverage. And until you beat me out of it, that's why I like coaches like Belichick. They're like, you know what? I don't care if you know what we're gonna do. Stop it. I don't rely on scheme mostly. I rely on the ability. A scheme is dead if your player can't do it. I think on that third down, hell, you could have if Evans was 1-on-1, you could have did a go route right there and threw a bomb. That would have been a touchdown. Now, my only pet peeve when it comes to the short runs, Leonard Fournette, I think it's because of his size, but he's got to learn how to just fall forward and go into the hole and not dance. Sometimes he does do that. He'll sit there and hesitate, and as a running back, you want to keep the momentum forward, and that's a big guy. So that's my only thing about him. Sometimes he can't dance. Just blow the damn hole up.
And I think Leftwich is in the middle of identity crisis, because I feel like he wants to power the ball up the middle with Fournette over and over again. This line's not built for that. Gedeke is a guy who likes to get out in space. He likes to get to the second level. He's great at pulls. He's not that power guard. Same with Shaq Mason. He's not this powerhouse guard who's going to win at the point of attack every time. This is an interior line that's built for more of a zone outside kind of run, which is when you see the off tackle kind of stuff working. It's getting out in space a little bit more, letting them run. We can't just power it up the middle with Ali Marpet and Ryan Jensen. Those guys aren't here. And there's been no adjustment made.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question, and everybody out there. For you Madden NFL players, you ever play someone online, and after the first series they have on offense and you're playing defense, you're like, okay, I know what this guy's going to do the rest of the game. You know those guys? That's Byron Leftwich, okay? If you watch, like I said earlier, the breakdown from people like John Ledyard from the Pewter Report. There's that other guy with the last name that starts with O. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. JT knows who I'm talking about. They post, basically 3 or 4 second videos of how a play started or whatever happened. And Cam Hayward and the defensive line knew where the ball was going to be run, what gap, every time. They were there before the running back was. It was just, it was embarrassing. Like I said, it's like when you ever play like your little 10-year-old cousin on Madden, and you just abuse them. And it was almost like they were daring the Buccaneers to throw against the scrub secondary. That's what it felt like. I want to ask all three of you. Geez, another question. This guy fucking here. Let me tell you. I saw this on Twitter, and I'm not going to give an opinion one way or the other because, well, I said earlier I'm a fat guy. But is it just me, or am I getting too inebriated during the games? Is Vita Vea fat and slow compared to last year, or am I just like, medically induced?
I think I don't mind taking this one. I think he's a big part of that defensive front. And I think one of the things that people are doing they are targeting him because it all starts with him, right? And I know previously he got double teamed and etc. and he won those. But in the run game, it's different. In the pass game, I get where you're coming from. It's different because when you're a pass protector, you're still taking a step back, which means when you've got a guy going full steam at you, it's going to be harder to handle. But guess what you do when you run block? You take steps forward. So what happens is you get a guy, and if any of you've ever coached or know football, which I assume everyone in this room, you get two guys. You get one guy goes up to him, holds him block, keeps him stilled, and the other guy peels off to go and find a linebacker. So two guys go in, one sets him up so he's fully locked up with the main blocker, and then the other blocker peels off. That's all you need to do. That's it. And that's what they've been doing. That's why everyone runs it down the middle. It's middle. They're staying between the tackles because there's nothing else there.
Does it have anything to do with the lack of Ndamukong Suh next to him, or at least on the line? Is that the problem?
Oh, absolutely. The Ndamukong Suh, people don't realize he was more than just an enforcer. He could think. He knew the game, and he knew how to hit the gap, and he anticipated the running backs. That's why a lot of times he caused fumbles. Look what he did in the playoff game against the Rams. He is smart, and Slick said it. He nailed it. They are doubling the hell out of Vita, and sometimes they're chipping him. They're doing everything in their power to keep him from, because he's the X factor. Now, this is where I do feel Bowles needs to make an imagination. Can you imagine putting Devin White on the edge? That would be
Michael Parsons
brilliant. Yes, he is better than Parsons by far. I don't care what nobody says. He's faster. He's more physical. If he's on the edge and you put Shaq Barrett to drop back in coverage, because Shaq and Barrett actually has decent coverage abilities, or Levante, can you imagine a left tackle or a right tackle trying to contain Devin White? That's what I mean. If you're going to disguise something, Bowles, do that. Stop with this bullshit corners stuff. It's not going to happen. They're picking it up because they anticipated. You're a 5'10", 75-pound guy is not going to blow up a tight end or a back unless they're the second coming of an Earl Thomas or something. You have to know what you can use the best of your abilities. I would put Devin White all around the field to confuse the defense. And what you can do, confuse them. Put him on the edge and be like, you know what? Pretend you're going to blitz, but back out just in case they throw a quick little route to the running back and you can pick it off and it's all day. So to answer your question again, Vita Vea is being doubled. He's not bad. It's hard because what's happening to him is what's happening to Aaron Donald, and we're not criticizing him, but it happens. This is where the other guys got to step up. Like Shaq Barrett has got to really come alive. He has been quiet, but he's been doubled too. But somebody out there has got to take over.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, that's my take on that.
So I got one for you because I like to cut your jib there. How about, and get this, you put your Shaq Barrett where he normally is, but then he bails into coverage, and then Devin White comes in and takes it, and then you can get them to move pre-snap, and then moving around just completely go. Who's gonna be the blitzer? No one knows. And then this is Bowles' bread and butter. This is what he talks about is creating the illusion of pressure or creating pressure from a completely different way. That's what he does. That's what he's known for. So you could have them all set up. Pre-snap as this kid's making his read, this Kenny Pickett with his tiny little hands, he's there scanning the field. All of a sudden, Shaq Barrett and Devin White swap places or converge a little bit to each other. Now you don't know which one's going to go or both of them going to go. And you just play off that so much that they don't know what's going on. And that's when you have fun with your creative play calling because that's where you go, we got them. They don't know what they're doing.
JT, I need to hear about Vea. I think you were talking about him on Twitter, weren't you?
I've had a lot of grievances to air lately. Here's what I'll say about V. What makes him a great player is his ability to beat double teams. He's always been double teamed, and he consistently beats them. he splits them, he makes plays in the backfield, or he allows a linebacker to shoot in there because he's occupying two guys. That guy can't get to that second level and make that block. This year, I think the double teams are beating him more often than not, which I'm not sure if that's a mentality thing. I'm not sure if that's a physical thing. He doesn't look any bigger or slower to me because he's always been a great athlete. 350 pounds, incredibly powerful, and he moves sideline to sideline really well. So those zone outside run offenses, they really struggle against him because they think they're getting out in space, and he's every step with them, blowing things up. I don't feel like he's been as good this year. And I think that's been a direct result of why our safeties are often our leading tackler because our linebackers are being blocked. And our run defense has taken a step back this year. Maybe that's a mentality thing with Sue being gone because no one has ever accused Sue of not being aggressive. And he's a little more aggression right now. He's that mean, that nasty. And I'm just not seeing it. And that's okay. You can dominate without being a nasty player, but you need someone on there to amp up that intensity. There's no
You need that dog in you. I don't think there's anyone on that line.
Yeah, speaking of nasty, as JT is speaking of nasty, I feel like Logan Hall showing a little bit of that characteristic, that little bit of edge. Like he plays pissed off, just not every play. So maybe that's a rookie thing. He'll come out of it. I gotta ask. AJ. Buck Curry 813, bro. We're confused. I'm confused. I was like, hey, what's his name? Oh, Buck Curry. So what's Buck Curry? What's that all about, bro?
Buff Curry. That's just a little nickname that was bestowed upon me because I played sports and stuff, and of course, this is around the time where everybody was light skinned with green eyes, and Steph Curry was the guy. So I'd be in the gym and playing sports and muscular because they was like, "Well, look at little Buff Curry." So
all right, that's awesome. Yeah. I feel like on one hand, we all are going to have passion for the team, so we're going to overreact or underreact and try to make minimal. The fact is, they're 3-3, and let's be honest, yesterday was a shit show. Okay, they have had shit shows each year that Brady's been here, which was refreshing because before Brady, it was like 8 or 9 shit shows every season, and we're like, woohoo! That's the difference between playoffs and top 5 pick. We all saw Tom Brady on the sideline talking to the offensive line. Does there need to be more of that from Brady offensively? And is the defense missing that they used to get from JPP? Because remember, JPP had no problem calling people out for dancing when you're getting your heads kicked in. And all due respect, I remember one linebacker in particular. I'll just say that the JPP used to call out all the time. You're up here dancing. We're down by 17. What are you doing? Is that the problem? The defense is missing that vocal leader on the sideline, not a coach. Because let's be honest, coach is coach. But when they get out on the field, the players are the players and the coaches. You got your veterans who put people in the right place. You got your Tom Brady. So does Tom Brady need to take more of a vocal leadership on this team on the offensive side and overall? And who should and does the defense need a vocal leader? Because right now, Levante David, he leads by example. He's a quiet leader, like an assassin. Devin White, he gets hype, but
he swags.
I don't know if he's nothing against the guy. I don't think he carries the weight of somebody like JPP telling somebody that settle down and play the game or whatever. So I want to hear from you guys on that. And I'm going to go mess with some more people on Twitter.
I'll start it off. I'll say this on offense. I love when Brady gets in their asses because, as you said, you still have to perform despite what the coaches do, and it does. But I have to say, I wish he would yell at Leftwich like that because yesterday that was not really players messing up. That was Leftwich with those bullshit calls. He should have been like, Leftwich, what the hell are you doing? Why are we running? We need to get these passes open. Let's spread this shit out. Spread the wealth. What is wrong with you? If you're scared, just say that. Or if you don't know what you're doing, let me take over. You see what I'm saying? Now, on defense, I do think, I know this will probably be uncomfortable, but yet Levante is going to have to be that JPP. I think Levante is the kind of guy where he I want to keep the peace. But you're right. Somebody's got to say, look, Devin, do your damn assignments, concentrate and focus. You got this. So the whole point is to know, guys, we believe in each other. Just do your job and handle the business. And there's gonna have to be someone that tells the coaches, hey, Bowles, this is cool, but this is bullshit. Why are you making physical DBs? Let's look at it this way. Carlton Davis, physical. Our safeties, physical. We got one of the best safeties in the game. What you want to do is jam. Load the box. If we load the box, that helps the run. I think that would neutralize our ineffective run because, like you said, the safeties will take care of everything. Winfield is a beast. He's on his way of being the best by next season. But, yes, we're going to have that one guy to say, do your damn job and don't mess up. Don't let up. Hey, guys, I have a personal opinion. If you really want to keep your players healthy, whoop that team's ass early so then you can sit your players, your starters, so they can avoid injury. That's just me,
though. I'll go with what. We all like seeing Tom Brady because usually there's a reaction from it. There's usually something that comes from it. I think now his words are becoming more and more hollow, and this is just an opinion. Probably due to the stuff that's happening off field, then the unretirement, then going away for 11 days, then going on a wedding. His words don't have as much bite to them as maybe they should, because they might be sat there going, well, you're too busy fucking around doing other shit. So, possibly. But on the defensive side of the football, as the dude alluded to, Lavonte David, as much interviews I've seen watched with him and podcasts that he's been on, he is a mellow dude. He gets pissed off because I've read a great story where he went fucking nuts at Vita Vea for not knowing his shit. So apparently Vita Vea didn't know what his job was. He was explaining to his D-line coach at the time, I believe this was the 2019 season, so when he was a rookie. And he was explaining to his D-line coach he didn't know where to be. And apparently he erupted and went, why the fuck is this prick in the game if he doesn't know where to fucking line up? Why is he in my fucking game? Like, go find me someone who knows where to fucking line up.
That's right.
So I think he does it, but I just don't think he does it to the level that someone like, because he's that lead by example. He always has been. I'm starting to see more emotion from Lavonte David. He's putting his emotions on his sleeve in comparison to seasons past. Because I think he knows that, and he has alluded to that, he doesn't know when his career is going to be over, and he's taking it year by year now. This was something on I'm trying to remember what the podcast was called. The bus and the bus and boys one or whatever it's fucking called. I can't remember, with Taylor Lewan, and he basically just turned around and said, "Yeah, I'm taking it year by year now." So I think he wants to get everything out of his career that he wants now, which is probably why we're seeing something like that of his personality. Devin White's a swag guy. He wants to just be full of positivity. Like, I'm going to kick your ass. We're going to kick your ass. He's a talker. He's chat shit. That's great when you're chatting shit and you're banging people out. That's great. When you're not, you're chatting shit just annoys people. Realistically, yes, I think they miss a leader like that because we had two of them at least. Yeah, we had Sue, who would quite happily let people know what he thought. We had JPP, who would do the same. If I'm the Buccaneers right now, I'm going to get my checkbook out and I'm going to go and get Ndamukong Suh back because I think it completely helps. I think it's been good for Logan to have that opportunity, but I don't think he's 100% ready to take it right yet. Put that guy in rotation. He can come in here and there whenever he needs to. I saw him line up as a nose at one point in that game. He wears number 90, Logan Hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was it nose a couple of times. I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? This is interesting. And it's like, okay, maybe someone was a bit dinged up and they won't actually put you in. Because he has played across the line, but maybe not a nose. Maybe not a true nose. But yes, I'm getting my checkbook out and I'm going to go and get a Ndamukong Suh because I don't even think Hicks brought that level of intensity. He's a good player. He's an injury-prone player, which was always something we knew. So I go and get Sue, who's rarely gets injured and gets after people and brings such a ferocity to that line. I don't think we're as aggressive as a defense as we once were. We're missing a few teeth.
It's like I absolutely agree with you about Tom Brady. He has to be that guy because he's the only vocal leader. But you can only smash so many tablets before it becomes old hat. But there's no other guy. I mean, all of the Bucs leaders on this team, you think about their best players. Levante David, he's more laid back, lead by example. Carlton Davis, he's more of a quiet intensity kind of guy. Tristan Wirfs, more mellow, super nice kind of guy. And you can't force that because one thing a leader can't be is unauthentic. You have to be you, otherwise people see the bullshit right away. Like you said, Devin White, he is that guy. He's that vocal leader, but he's more sizzle than steak. You can't get in your teammates' faces about not knowing their job when he's the prime offender. He's probably the first name that comes to mind when Todd Bowles mentions a Super Bowl hangover. That's Devin White in a nutshell for me.
Yeah.
Snap. The reason, sorry guys, the reason I asked the question about Brady on the sideline is I think we can all agree that the Buccaneers probably need someone to help them be motivational leaders, or somebody needs to say something, right? Well, we got some behind-the-scenes stuff of Tom Brady talking to his offensive line after the game. You ready?
Gebertirim lan sizi. Anasını sikinin ilk neleri. Sen oynadın tokunu amına koyup hepinizin ne lazım siker.
I mean, I feel like having this kind of behind-the-scenes insider coverage is key. Do you think Tom Brady's pissed off at the organization, at the coach, at the offensive line, at Hainsey, at who? I don't know. Giselle, maybe. I mean, how could you be pissed off at that? But
he is pissed at everything. But I always say this: Brady is a guy who likes to try to be honorable because he's always been that way. You know what? I'm gonna do my best to be a team player. But I know he is seething behind the scenes. Like, what the fuck is Leftwich doing? What is he doing? This is ridiculous. But he's all, and I know he's a little frustrated at the players, but if Brady has that mindset look at who he learned under. Belichick would never put your players in a position like this back in the day. You didn't have that many shit shows in New England. Usually, what was New England's record by almost the end of the season? 10-2. So this is new territory for Brady. The structure is nowhere near as it was in New England. And you got Belichick. He's a once-in-a-lifetime type of coach. So I think he is frustrated. And like you said, he's putting his personal life on the line for his love of the game, and he doesn't want to go out like a joke or a clusterfuck. So he is mad, but I think he wants to bring the best out of his players. You can't tell me, like you said, Slick, if he knows his receivers more than I think Leftwich could ever do. So he knows, okay, are the coaches putting my teammates in the best position to succeed, or are these guys feeding their own egos? That's why I said earlier, it's an ego thing, because there's no way in hell. I am sure Bruce has probably told Bowles, like, hey, my man, why are we doing all this cushion shit? What's going on? Or why ain't you taking shots down the field, Leftwich? And they're probably like, I got this. Because we all know coaches and players have egos. So somebody's ego has to get checked. And there's going to have to be, a day of reckoning, because I'm going to tell you what, this boom or bust. If we go out the first week of the playoffs, even the second week, this was a total waste of Brady's time and the team. With this talent, come on, guys. We got to take advantage. We might not ever see this again. We've already been through the dark years. With this team, we want to have as many memories to say, you know what? We kicked ass. And we took championships. Not championship. We won another one. This is a Super Bowl team. So he has a right to be mad. And we all need to be mad.
Yeah, I agree. I remember that he used to lose his cool a lot with Josh McDaniel quite often on the sideline. They had a few discussions, is probably the nicest way of putting it. So I want to see more of that from between him and Byron Leftwich. If Byron Leftwich continues to go down the path he's calling of trying to establish a run that's not there and not take advantage of what's available. Look, if Plan A isn't working. Stop trying to make plan A work. Let's go and find a new plan. You've got to have something else in your back pocket anyway. So let's see what you can. Look, it's great that they're figuring out a way to get Fournette the ball, but he right now is getting licked so fucking hard because he is the leading Balcal running back. So he's getting most of the touches by a long shot. On top of that, he's also the leading guy in receptions. What does that do? He's getting licked a lot, which means you're going to end up having Rachaad White in anyway because he won't be there. And Leonard Fournette isn't exactly an injury, and no running back is realistically, because it's a tough position to play because you're probably going to get hit every single play. So what I'm trying to ask is, why the hell are we burning the shit out of our guys right now? I'm all about run the football and play defense and then build on it. Great. This wasn't the game for that. You could argue that was that there were other games. Like I said in my 2 game plans for the first 2 games of the season was run the football and play defense. That was my game plan. And yeah, that's what we did. And it worked. But we have not established a dominant run yet. since that Cowboys game. That Cowboys game was our creme de la creme, and that's not happened since. So now we have to come up with something else. This team was very good at spreading the ball around. We're talented with wide receivers. We know that even the backups can do something. So let's use it. We can scrub off a Green Bay Packers loss because we were down. We lost a lot of people. So we knew, we can short that one up. Kansas City's a firepower team. We know that it's always going to go down to the wire. Shouldn't gone down the way it did, but it did. This next game was not acceptable. Even the game before that against Atlanta, we still tried to do the same shit. Run the football, run the football, run the football, run the football. Their defense is pretty good, but it's not as good as our wide receivers. We were talking about the Buccaneers don't have enough viable wide receivers at one point. Then why weren't we working in the tight ends? Back when we were playing against the Packers, that should have been a tight end centric game. I'd have gone double tight ends just to see what I can get out of it. Because I know I don't have a Mike Evans. I don't have a Chris Godwin. I didn't have a Julio Jones, and I had a Russell Gage. Russell Gage was my number 1 guy, who's the number 4 guy, I guess, or number 3 guy, depending on how you look at it. Why are we not using the tight ends if we're depleted? Guess what? They can catch the football too. And not everybody plays their tight ends connected to the line. You can separate them. I can guarantee you, if you go and look at Travis Kelce's yards, most of them don't come from the traditional tight end position. He does not have his hand in the dirt. He has his hand. He is lined up like a wide receiver in a wide receiver stance. Not every time, but a lot of the time. There we go. Let's play with it. Creativity. You said he lacks imagination. That shows you lack of imagination. Because if you're imaginative, you're going, I want to see what I can do with this. I want to see what I can do with that. But it seems like they have brand A, and brand A is the only brand. So everyone's sick of eating cornflakes. Let's get some Cocoa Pops on the go.
I'm always on board for that plan. There's no situation where Cocoa Puffs aren't on the menu. But to me, Tom Brady looks like a guy who's absolutely frustrated with everything. He's frustrated with his offensive line because it's always a different guy messing up. It's Gedeke, it's Hainsey, it's Shaq Mason. He's had some moments where he has looked very average. It's Byron Leftwich. Everything about what they're doing offensively. It's receivers being out. It's receivers dropping passes. It's his own body starting to fail him at 45 years old. He's bouncing passes in. I don't know if that's old age or a shoulder injury or what, but it's not what he wants his body to be doing. His support system is failing him, allegedly. We hear all these things, the foundation of his life is kind of crumbling, if you believe what you hear in the newspaper. So everything, including his own body, is failing him, and there's nothing he can do about it except yell and scream and smash tablets and just try and will it to happen, and it's just not. And I don't know how you fix it.
You're bang on. For him, it's a combination of everything. He's not happy with his offensive line play. He's frustrated that his wide receivers are in and out, in and out, in and out, so he doesn't get to kind of build on something. Because every game, you build, and whatever. I know that Chris Godwin has rapport with him, but going game into game into game with each other, and Chris Godwin hasn't looked like Chris Godwin of old since that ACL injury. He doesn't look nowhere near of what he was. He shows slithers of it. And then we've got an aged Julio Jones that hasn't done anything except for one big catch. And we're all praying that we're going to have this come together moment where he figures it out. He becomes a lethal weapon down the line. I'm not talking like next week or the week after that. I'm talking like week 10. And then you got Mike Evans, who's consistently Mike Evans, and I don't know why Tom Brady doesn't go to him more, because in that Rams game when we were struggling, I turned to my wife and she said, "What do you think's wrong with the Bucs?" I'm like, "They just need to trust Mike. Just sling Mike the ball. He will always come down with it." Because the beauty of a Mike Evans is he will go so high up in the air, no one's going to catch it. And if he doesn't catch it, it's going to get knocked down to the ground. So it's going to be uncatchable anyway.
Well, maybe that's a matter of him not so much not trusting Mike Evans, but not trusting himself. We saw him woefully underthrow a couple of Scotty Miller deep balls last week.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Evans is at his best going down the field. He's such a great deep threat at 6'5", 230.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's just unconfident with his ball placement right now. Again, not sure if it's shoulder injury or just where he's at in his career, but maybe he's just not confident in taking those deep shots.
Could be a thing. I think overall it goes to accountability and ego. Everybody's got to sit back and say, okay, what am I doing that's not going the right way? Because we can all see it, and we are just regular people watching. But this is where I say the ego part comes in, because I guarantee you, and I say this, I think there probably are some people in these guys' camps that are looking at things like us saying, these guys don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. Not really. We know the game. The game is the game. And if you got people on the couch that can spot your scheme, that's a problem. So you have to go back and look inside like they did after the Kansas City game. I think, honestly, after that game in 2020, when they got beat the way they did, everybody took accountability and sat back and said, what can we do to fix this? And it's going to have to take that. And I think, what will cure Brady's anger? Winning. Winning always cheers up, no matter what. I don't care if you even have a toxic environment. Winning clears that shit up. So they got to win, but later on, I think down the line, we got to convincingly win. We have yet. The only game that we won, and I think we played with big heart, was the Saints game. And that was because we hated that team. So every team we play for the rest of the season, we got to have that fire. We're going to go in there and whoop your ass. You know what? I don't care if you do know what we're going to do when it comes to certain plays. Stop it.
Absolutely.
We got to get, this team has to get their balls back and let them hang on the defenders' faces. That's what we need.
I agree. Look, the season's been spotty so far because of different issues and what have you. And now we were going into a stretch of 3 games where we were like, Atlanta Falcons, okay, it's still not good enough. We should get a win there. We go to Pittsburgh, yeah, okay, it's on the road, it's going to be tough, but we're going against a team that's only won 1 game with a quarterback that's still figuring it out and a rookie. That should have, with a shit ton of with 4 DBs out and their best pass rusher. Put that all together, this game should have been a 35-10 if we were at very best. At very best. But then we went against Green Bay, who, their wide receiver core is beat up, and you can see the differences. There's a lot of similarities of what's going on between both those quarterbacks. One wants to be here, and I'm talking about Brady, and the other one in Aaron Rodgers doesn't know what the fuck he wants because he wants to win, but he wants to be paid.
He wants clout. That IG girl who has 999,000 followers, but wants 1 million and wants to be adored. You're right. That's why Aaron doesn't win. He doesn't have what Brady has, heart. He doesn't have the will to win. He wants to win pretty. So yes, I'm definitely with you on everything else you just said. They got to get back to the basics and figure this shit out. Just go, you know what? Let's take a step back and let's just look at it. Like you said, we got all these weapons. I would honestly, against Carolina, look at the stretch. We got Carolina. That's a winnable game. You got Baltimore. They're vulnerable. That's a winnable game. We can win. If anything, I would have the mindset of, you know what, guys, let's win out. You know what? And because we said it, the NFC is wide open. But don't you want to feel comfortable to have a playoff game in your own home? Let's be real. And with Julio, I think it's a chess game. I don't expect to see Julio for real until week 12, where he plays the rest of the games, getting football shape. Can you imagine by then if they get their shit together? Julio, Evans, Russell Gage, Godwin. Because for me, when Julio's back, I'm putting Julio and Evans on the outside and Godwin in the slot. Take that. What are you gonna do? And then if I run that spread, you got Scotty on the other side. Oh, I'll kill. That's just me.
No, I'm with you. They've got to figure out a way of utilizing what they've got. We know that's been kind of done to death. Here's a question for you: is there a free agent or a trade that you like the look of that the Buccaneers could strengthen themselves up, that you like the idea of?
My whole thing was to try to get Sue back, I wish we never should have let JPP go. No. I think that wasn't a smart decision. I think they believed a lot in Joe Triankia, which he has the potential, but he has to get the fundamentals down. Once he gets the fundamentals down, I think over the time.
You think he should have had another year under?
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
He should have been more of a role player. He should have been the guy where it's like, you know what? You come in to give our guys rest because you're a depth guy, and nothing's wrong with that. So yes, I honestly wanted that. I know everybody. I don't know why people think we need to go get another receiver. That's not the issue. That's not the problem. I mean, because what's the point of bringing someone in and Byron doesn't use them anyway? So I would say I don't know if there's any other run stoppers. We need another run stopping defensive guy on the line to help. We need another guy in. I like Rucha Nunez. He's a good backup guy, but overall, we have enough talent. They just got to utilize it. Coaches do. We have a Super Bowl caliber roster. Use it. So that I think we have more than enough. You just got to use it. Believe in your squad.
And you just keyed on to something that I just keyed on to something you just said, and you said we have a Super Bowl roster. Guess who were Super Bowl favorites? This team. And now we don't look like Super Bowl favorites. How'd you go from being in that conversation to like, oh yeah, now they're in a battle to try and win their division, where it should have been a sheer gone conclusion that we're going to win it. There's no conclusion in it. And just to go off this, we got a game against a divisional opponent who just traded one of their wide receivers.
Well, that squad is a dumpster fire. That's why I say I'll tell you what. The way we play the Panthers I feel like it's going to define the rest of the season. If you go and take care of business the right way, you beat this team by 21 plus points. I think you're on the right path. If you slug it out, that would really concern me because they're in disarray. Like you said earlier, you beat a team like that, you beat them to the ground. You make them not even feel like they're in the game. You do that. Just like Claypool was talking his trash after the game, and people were mad. I said, "Why? They won." I would talk trash too.
Bragging rights.
You just beat a Super Bowl on paper team. I would talk my shit too. So I always say, if you don't want to see me talk shit, stop me. Stop the team. So
exactly.
Let's see what the Bucs do in Carolina. They go and handle business. They learn from their mistakes. I hope somebody from their organization is listening. I don't have to get the credit. I just want to know. I don't care if both say they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And the next 3 rounds. Let Leftwich go. I don't care what they say. You know what? How about we do use that crossing route? Let's see what that does. You know what, Fournette? Take a break. Get back in here.
I want to see more of Vaughn because he had that game as the Jets or no Carolina. He had the game where he was the starting back. He had a great game.
So the Eagles in the playoffs, he was killing.
So I want to see a bit more. I don't know why he's so far down that he doesn't get anything. Like absolutely, and that guy can blitz pick up, and he is a run up the gut, dude.
He compliments Fournette. I kind of feel like, man, maybe Vaughn said something to Leftwich and said these plays are trash, and they said, you know what, you got to sit down. He said something. Somebody said something because you don't just take a guy out like that. You should have 3 backs. I like power, speed. I want to beat your defenders up and then take the wind out of you when I get a speed guy in there. That's how you do it. You're plunging them, and then when it's time for these guys by the 3rd, 4th quarter where their hips are bruised and they start to lock in and they can't move, we have it. It's just, what are you doing, Leftwich? Now it's really on you. You want to show us that you can be at that head coaching level? Let me see what you do with this team. Let me see where you go. Are you going to be the one that goes just with the, all right, we have to do better? Or are you really going to say, yeah, I'm a dumbass right now. I need to get my shit together.
All I want to see is just some fire. I just want to see some fire. Because one thing I've said about these games, Kansas City for sure. Last quarter of the Atlanta Falcons game, and then this entire game. The teams that we played against looked like they really wanted. The Kansas City wanted us on a fucking spike, and it was obvious from the moment they started playing. And the Buccaneers felt like they could just coast through that game, and then they kind of picked it up a little bit, but it wasn't enough because you can't give up. Hey, you're going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can kind of coast a little bit and still be in the game like we did. But someone like a Buffalo Bills, they'll kill you for it. They will roast you alive. You will be licked by flames, and you will be set under, and everyone will be talking about how trash you are.
Right, and that's another thing because, as we know, they love to talk bad about the Bucs. Especially you got people like Shannon Sharp and all these guys. He got to get that hate out of his heart. And I love to always try to talk to him because I really ask. Because as someone like him who played at the level of the game and as great as he is, I just go, you know damn well this is not all on one player. I don't like when the media tries to make football like it's the NBA. One man cannot decide the entire game. It is a team sport, and there are domino effects. If coaching is shit, the players are going to be shit, more than likely. And that's what I'm saying for the Bucs. If you don't, because sometimes the players get a little sensitive about, man, they're portraying me as this. Well, you control the narrative. What are you gonna do, Devin?
What are you gonna do?
They went. I love Devin. Like they got on him about that comment he made about saying we were bored. And I don't think he meant it that way.
No,
I think he was just speaking his mind. But he got to understand, whatever you say out there, you got to live with it and back it up. And it's gonna be changed up a little bit, but don't worry about it. You go out there and ball your ass off and win, you'll silence the commentator. So that's another thing. The narrative, they want the Bucs to fail in a way. They want to see it, to have this drama. They want it to be about Brady. It's not all about Brady. It's the team. Everybody has to come together. So that's why I'm saying it.
If Brady wins the Super Bowl.
If Brady wins the Super Bowl, then they all, like Shannon, again, you gotta get that hate out your heart about Brady. He is not the problem.
He's got that hate there, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, did Brady win us the Super Bowl on his own? No.
Not at all. If anything, that defense came to life in the playoffs and was killing. I mean, we know this. Everybody knows that. It's just, of course, we know the sports media. They got to have a story. They got to make some Maple Leaf
Tom Brady's a great story.
Right, and Tom Brady's a great story, and he's a great or bad story. He's going to be the center. Like the Atlanta game when they were talking about the roughing the passer, I told people, okay, are you not going to talk about the Scotty Miller pass interference Why
That
didn't
was
they
just a
have that
poorly
on the
officiated
replay?
game, in my opinion, just from top to bottom. I think, and I said this. I said to what I had an Atlanta Falcons on my show, and I said to him, if that game was called from the Scotty Miller pass interference, how would you feel about it? And he went, I could have probably taken the loss a lot better. And I was like, exactly.
You saw that it was Brady, and of course, people were saying, "Oh, Brady gets the most calls." Then, when the research came up, do you know who had the most roughing the passer calls?
Aaron Rodgers.
And Mahomes, he's gotten a lot of calls, and he hasn't even been in the league forever. So
No.
this is why we got to get that narrative about Brady out of there. It's just smoke. Facts over feelings, people. We need
Yeah.
facts over the feelings. I don't care. And I told people, if that Scotty Miller play would have happened, if they would have called it like they were supposed to, the game's over. They would have
Yeah.
been more than the field goal range. The game's over. So at this point, the Bucs are gonna have to pick it up, and there's no reason to hold back. You let it fly. Because sometimes I think coaches want to keep plays in their back pocket. You can't do that shit anymore. You let it hang out there. I don't care if they have it on film. If they don't have the personnel to stop it, it doesn't matter.
I would say we always did that. I always had like, well, I wouldn't say plays because I was more like an adjustment. I had adjustments in my back pocket. If I didn't need to use them, I wouldn't use them. But most of the time, I also used them as a 1-2 punch. So like I was given one thing, and I'm like, right, now I'm gonna really fuck them up. Put this in, and that'd be really basic. So I was a defensive coordinator. I'm now back to being a defensive backs coach, but I was a defensive coordinator for a while, for 2 years, and then decided to go upper league in the UK. And coach a team called the Sandwell Steelers, and they've asked me to be their DB coach. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, it was just some simple stuff like understanding the game. For me, I'm terrible at seeing it. I'm better at drawing it. So if someone comes up to me, they'll go, because I believe that everyone learns in different rate. Someone come up to me and they go, this is what's happening, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whoa, slow down. I get my little grease board up and I'm like, show me what's happening. He's like, this and this. And I was like, right, what's happening with who's your end? And he'd be like, and I remember this is the game that we won. He's like, oh, it's Ahmed. I was like, all right, Ahmed, what's happening with you on the play? Like, you get into the guy. And he's like, no one's touching me. And I went, there's a fucking reason for that. There's a reason that you're not being touched. So I was like, dude, next time, every single time you get hands on, this right here, one on the shoulder, and you peek. If it comes around, you shed the prick and you go get it. You're allowing your linebacker to be clean, and he's going to come through. What you're doing is allowing your linebackers to get slapped out of the play. He's like, oh, okay, cool. And we did it, won the game. They must have shit.
See, and I like that's one thing that I do like, because I know like certain people will try to challenge me and say, well, what would you do in this scheme? I go, okay, I'm not looking always at the scheme. I look at the players. I go, okay, this person can't do what they want him to do. Like if I always see a one-on-one with Mike Evans, I'm going for that.
Mm-hmm.
The worst case, I got two good scenarios. He's going to make the catch, or there's a flag, or the worst case, it's a dead ball. It's not going to get picked. So that's how I like to coach. Because I was last year for a small team in Virginia, I was doing running back stuff, but I was also calling offensive plays. I look at, oh, okay, this kid on my team can run a seam route like no one's business, and no one's catching them. And the defense that we would play, they were stout, but I'm like, they don't have speed. They were more physical and up. And once you got past the front seven, they had no secondary. So I always go, you know what? This scheme is decent, but if you don't have the personnel to run it, it's
I always say, I start with this every year because people always have a difference of opinion about schemes and what have you. And I always say, every single scheme across the country, across our country, across America will win a fucking championship. Guaranteed. And every single scheme will have an 0-something season. It's not about the fucking scheme. Scheme helps. That's just the blueprint of how you play the game, right? That's all it is. It's the blueprint of how you play the game. Now you got to be the teacher who teaches how to do that blueprint. And if you can't do that, then you're not teaching how to do. You can write the most sexy. I had an offensive. My head coach was an amazing tactician of the game. Amazing, like blow your mind with football. Knew way more than me. But what he didn't understand is how to get players to understand it. And that's what I was better at, because I dumbed everything down and I built on it and built on it. My drills, I don't believe in drills. I don't say this with I say this madly. I do believe in drills, but I don't believe in having a drill book and going, all right, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. I believe in going, right, what are we not doing great at the moment? Oh, outside runs. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work on block shedding. We're going to work on getting there. We're going to work on our core so our eyes are in the right place, and we're going to build it. First, it'll be like a DB versus a blocker. Then there'll be a DB, a blocker, and a ball carrier. Then it will be, we'll have a skeleton of the offensive line and that. And we'll add more players. Before we know it, it's a full OVD, and it's just adding more and more to it. I believe in doing stuff like that than just pulling out a drill book, going, yeah, that'll do. We'll just do that 16 times.
Right. It's all I'm the person where I go, okay, this is what you're good at. This is what you're going to shine in. You know how to run slants, you run slants. You know how to run a go, you're going to do a go. You're good at blitzing, you're going to blitz. You're good at coverage, this is what you're going to do. I'm not going to make a guy do what he's not good at. This isn't about me. Like you said, there's a lot of educated people out there, but can you teach it? And that's where I go back to, it's a lot of ego, because for certain people, it's offensive to tell them you are smart, but you can't teach it.
Mm-hmm.
You are smart, but are you intelligent? You are all of these things, but can you simplify it?
Simplifying is such one of the biggest skills in football. It's one of the things that makes football is the fact you can take something as simple as making a tackle and break it down into 5 different drills from start to finish. And that's the beauty of football, is that you take it from a stance, then you add you have a foot motion, then you add a arm, then you add it all together, and you've got a hit on a back, and then you got hit on a stationary target, then you got hit on a moving target, right to left, wide, and you just play with it. That's the beauty of football.
Yes, it's simple, and simplicity is the key, because I tell kids, it's mostly mental, not physical, because you could be the most physical specimen, but if you don't know the game, you're going to get screwed all the time. Mm-hmm. How many times have we seen great players with great abilities, but at the end of the day, they couldn't put it together because they didn't have it up here? You see what I'm saying? And yes, just like for running backs, that was my position. I love it. I know like how to tell these kids, okay, this is when you should throw your body into them and use your momentum. Or this is where if you see a guy that's slow and he can't get down and hit you, move your body, juke. If it's a corner and he is much smaller than you, don't even waste the truck. Just put your hand out there. And I always tell them, try to go for their shoulder and throw them to the ground. If you're strong enough to do the helmet, I just tell people, watch your hands because you don't want it to get busted. But it's all, like you said, it's all fundamentals. And that's another thing that's going on in the Bucs when in the run. They're trying to blow the running back up, just make the damn tackle. Wrap around and hit him and throw him to the ground. Stop trying to blow him up. And I'm talking to Devin White about that. Mm-hmm. We know you're a beast. We know these things. We know that.
Sometimes you just need to get him on the ground. Get him on the ground, the play's done.
Yeah, the play is done. And I think overall defense, I'm not really worried about the defense. I think they'll get it together. Offense, Lord, just help us. We can't afford to look this bad again.
That defense looked good week 1, week 2. That's a fact. It was a good defense week 1, week 2. Week three, they started giving up the touchdown. Was when they started giving up the touchdowns. And that's when we really started going, okay, well, but the points weren't that bad. They were still good enough to keep a team in the game. In the modern day NFL, if you can keep a team down by less than 21, you've got a very good chance of winning the football game. So with a pioneering offense, the Buccaneers should be winning games.
Smacking the hell out of teams, honestly, because you can't guard Evans, Godwin by yourselves. You got to double one of them. And I'm sick of this Gronk thing. Yes, is Gronk a big piece? Yes, Gronk is the icing, but he's not the entire offense. Auden, I think, is really good. I think Auden is a more shiftier Brait. And I think he's going to be excellent years to come. He's got it. They just got to, like you said, utilize.
Yeah, they're going to find ways to find a bit more to him. But we're talking about someone that I bring in. Everyone was talking about Odell Beckham Jr. I did a piece on this as just saying, well, Odell Beckham's just a non-starter for me because he's not going to come here for one reason only. We're not going to pay him as much. Secondly, he's going to have to climb that depth chart. Doesn't matter how much he wants to work with Tom Brady. Those two things will go against him. Anyway, what player could have instant relief for this Buccaneers team if they wanted to use him? Jared Cook. And he can play. He can play that kind of off tight end. Doesn't have to play connected, and I don't think he really ever did. That guy got 500 yards last year and 5 touchdowns. He will walk into the team being able to play, and you can still line him up as a slot if you need to. And he's going to have instant gratification. You're going to get something out of him as soon as he learns the playbook, and he's going to be fucking cheap. He ain't got a team right now, so you can at least bring him in.
Right. Hey, this is a Super Bowl bound team. Let's get it together. That would be a good pick. Yeah. I like that.
Because I see someone like Kyle Rudolph, he's on his way out because he hasn't shown anything.
He ain't done a damn thing. And remember, we thought that was going to be a significant upgrade.
I did.
Now, I did too. I was like, man, nope.
He's a leader. He's a locker room dude. Like he was Walt Payton Man of the Year nominee for the for the Vikings for a few years. He was a captain for 4 years. So like, okay, he can control a locker room, so he can lead. Great, which means he's going to bring this these two rookies that we've got, because Cameron Brate is great, but he's not. Brate is great, but he's not a leader yet. And maybe he's not ever going to be a leader, and that's fine. But we've got a guy who's had the C on his chest. He may not have the C when he's in Tampa, but he can lead like he has got it and show these kids how to become better. He's been known as a guy who can block and a guy who can receive. So that's great. We get something out of it. I didn't think he was going to be amazing, but I thought he was going to push along. Maybe he does. Maybe this is why K. Dotton's having these moments. It's because of what he's learning. I don't know. But from a production value from Kyle Rudolph, I've not seen it yet, and I don't think we will see it. And that was my argument when I was looking at a free agent to come in for that tight end room. I wanted someone who could do a bit of everything. And that's why he was my pick. But if you're going for someone who you want to get some more yardage or more offensive production out of, someone like a Jared Cook probably would be a better suited person for this offense to kind of get those things out of.
He can block. They just gotta, for tight ends, you gotta teach them exactly how to block. And you got two types. You got the ones that it's very rare to get a well-rounded one, but you got the ones that's going to be hands in dirt, nitty-gritty, like your George Kittles of the past or your Kelce. Mm-hmm. And I think the Kelces are more popular now because this is a pass-happy league. But I like one thing I do admire about Gronk when he was here, he could do both, but that's a one-of-a-kind type of guy. We're not gonna always.
Gronk's the last traditional tight end, in my opinion.
Exactly, and we're not gonna get that anymore. But you're right. That would be a good pickup, and like you said, he would be hungry because he wants to. He doesn't have
he'd probably retire after if he got
exactly. You want those kind of guys. I love a player that goes, "This is the last chance that I can put myself in the history books and make a name." And he does that, and mind you, helping the other guys will keep him healthy because he doesn't have to do all the work. And now they can oh man, the sky is still the limit. And I know the sky isn't falling. Most true loyal Buck fans are not panicking. We're pissed. We're like, we know you are better than this. We're not saying it's over because the NFC is wide open. Yeah. We just go, hey guys, we want you guys to start getting in a rhythm. So by the end of the season, we can take off like we did in 2020.
We did, and that was the thing. We took off big time.
And something's telling me this might be another 2020 season where we're going to have these controversial moments, and somehow this team will get it together. I'm here to tell you this right now. If they do this shit and they get it together and we take it to the house, this will probably be like a movie season right here. Just think of all the storylines, Brady going through his divorce, the players, and just, man, I would love to know who would play Shannon Sharp.
He play himself.
Right. Himself. I can see him saying, Skip, can nobody play me like me?
I love that. Okay, brother, I gotta go because it's like 4 a.m. here, so I gotta.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, pleasure. Thank you for having me on this.
That's where we can catch you.
Yes, please catch me at. You can check my Instagram at flexluthor_813. My YouTube page again. It's about Bucking Time with AJ Turnup, and I'm always here to speak my mind on Twitter. The same thing, Flex Luthor. I'm always talking about the Bucs.
I'll have to catch you, man. No worries. I've been doing a fair bit of stuff that's gone out there as well. Maybe not as ranty as yours, but I try to keep a level. And it was hard last week though. Last week was tough. Last week was tough. I don't normally get pissed off at stuff, but I was pissed last night. That was just not good enough. Just not fucking good enough. And I don't swear that often either. So
I try to. Usually, my first 4 weeks were just a little bit of hell and damn in a positive way. Now this week, no. I kept the F-bombs away, so I think I did all right.
All right, brother, much appreciated. Thank you for coming on. We'll have to collaborate again sometime.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs, brother. That was AJ Turnup of his thing that he likes to do. Hey guys, much appreciated for you coming on. It's a bit of a long one for me, so I will have to say goodbye. Feels good to get it out of the system. I know I feel good about it. And hopefully our Buccaneers have got some owls to get out of their system. So that way we can get back to winning ways. We go up against the Carolina Panthers. Hopefully we can put a number on them and start get back in these winning ways and get some consistency. Because I want to open up the newspaper. And I always say this in my show when I ask people a question. You open up the newspaper the next day. What do you want the headline to be? The sports headline for your team to be? This week, I want to open up that newspaper or proverbial newspaper as an online article. Tampa Bay Buccaneers roast the Carolina Kitty Cats for 40 points. Put a 40 points on them. Take all that frustration, all that disrespect that they've been getting, and justly, I want Byron Leftwich to call a heck of a game where he just goes for the jugular and there's kitty cat blood squirting everywhere. I want Tom Brady at his angriest making every single pass. Those balls caught, touchdowns are galore, and the Buccaneers win it. Buccaneers defense dig their heels in and give up maybe 10 or less. No run game, balls contested, turnovers. Get back to doing the boat and get back to winning ways. Hey, Bucs on me, Bucs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!